Hey, Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. So, another show from the hot tub. Just been the most convenient time. I've been pretty sore here lately. Anyway, so, best investors have a plan B, okay? The best investors always have a plan B. You know, you're just foolish not to, right? You got to have a worst case scenario situation where you think about, okay, if things go bad, if things go wrong, what's my exit strategy, or what's my alternative way to hold on to this property without a lot of pain. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. Also, if you don't have my book, get my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's been a bestseller on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. I've been doing this 41 years. Also, I do phone consultations. You know, 10 minutes with me on the phone may save you $1 million, may save you years of stress and headache, you know, from making a bad deal, a bad investment. I've had quite a few phone consultations, and people are very glad afterwards. A lot of times just hearing back from somebody what you already suspect is a problem can be a big deal, can be a really big deal. So anyways, what I talk about right now is, you know, look, even myself, okay, I'm buying another property right now. It's a pretty good size one. You know, I may bail on it, but right now I've got some time to consider it. I've got, you know, got to go through my due diligence. I feel good about it. But I have an exit strategy right off the beginning, right? I've got time to look at it to make sure it's a good deal, to make sure everything I suspect that I can do, and so it's going to cost me, you know, it's going to cost me a little bit of money if I back out, but that's okay. You know, those that risk little make little, okay? And when I talk about risk, listen, when you buy a piece of real estate, it shouldn't feel like a risk. It should feel like Christmas, like you're about to get a, you know, big fat Christmas present. And that's what I tell everybody that in my mentorship or anything else. You shouldn't feel nervous about when you buy something. You should feel good about it. If you don't feel good about it, then there's probably something wrong. But back to you know, a plan B. So look, right now interest rates are going up. They're going to keep going up for a while. So that means whoever is going to buy the property from you is going to pay a higher rate. And in the end, what that means is the person behind you is going to want to pay less for it than probably he would have paid for it the month prior when interest rates were less. You know, you got to think about, you know, what a 1 point means to somebody in the form of a payment. You know, your own interest rates. So listen, owner financing, I think you're going to see a lot more of that coming. You know, owner financing is how I bought my very first deal. It opened the door for me when I had no credit. I was able to buy a property, but as a seller, I've sold many properties. You know, I've probably carried, I don't want to exaggerate, but for sure 30 notes, maybe as many as 40 notes, you know, over the last 40 years. And, you know, if you feel good about the asset, if you're going to be in the first position, not everybody can afford to be in the first position when they sell a property. And what I'm talking about is, in other words, you sell the property, you get a decent down payment, and you carry the balance. Well, you know, your money wouldn't get shit. Just all for the last 10 years, you didn't get nothing. You know, you had $1 million in the bank. You might get 10 grand a year. You know, not much money on $1 million, 1% or less at times. The other thing is, what you can do is, you know, think about this. You got a property, let's say, talking about exit strategy now. You got a property, let's just say you're having trouble selling it. You know, you can't sell it. Are you in a position where you can owner finance it for the person? You know, maybe if you get enough down, get 25% down, you carry the balance. You know what I mean? They're gonna, you know, you can get a little more interest for it. You can be competitive with the banks. That's the other thing right now. You'll see even on Wall Street, you know, people are starting to compete with Wall Street banks. You know, a lot of people are happy with a 4% return on a bank account. Look, on a bank account, 4% is fantastic. You can't get that from a bank. But if you have a decent asset, you know, rather than buy a property and you know, get a 5 cap on a piece of property and have the risk of owning it and the risk of the downside of somebody, you know, moving out and then you're looking for a tenant in tough times, you know, those are some real downsides you need to consider. But with as a hedge, again, right, against bad times, maybe think about a plan B that you can carry the note. Actually, so those of you that are selling property right now, maybe you're having a little tough time getting rid of it, carry a note. If you can have somebody pay you off in 5 years and carry a note for 5% for 5 years, and have enough meat on the bone that that they have a real stake in it, they're not going to walk away, or they're not going to walk away willingly, then that might be a good way to go, because at least then you've got your cash parked in a safe asset that I mean, obviously it was good enough that you purchased it, so it ought to be a good asset. That's always a concern when you're carrying a note, is not just the quality of the buyer, but the quality of the asset. Is the asset going to become worth less, in the future? So, I mean, less than maybe than the down payment, or less than the amount that's owed. I gave up one note in my lifetime. It was one of the first properties I bought. About it's $320,000 purchase. It's $4 an acre, $4,000 an acre on a 80-acre piece of property. And me and my buddy bought it together. We each put $50,000 down, and within a year or two, it wasn't worth what we owed on. And so we ended up doing a deed in lieu of foreclosure. That's a powerful paragraph there. Okay, a deed in lieu of foreclosure. That can save your ass sometimes. And because with a deed in lieu of foreclosure, hey, you learn that stuff in the mentorship. Hey, look, there's a lot of opportunities out there. Don't be afraid to invest. I started in bad times. You just have to buy under market. You have to know what you're doing. It shouldn't be scary. Nothing should ever feel like it's a risk. Now, to a degree, I mean, if you got an exit strategy and a plan B, it's never going to feel like a risk. You're going to go, well, I'm going to make a lot of money. You plan on you're going to make a lot of money, but if this goes wrong, maybe I'll make pretty good money. And that's not a bad alternative to making a lot of money. It's making pretty good money, but you need to feel good that you're making the right decision. Hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second. Hit the notifications button, and you can go live with me. You can ask questions. Let me take a look at some questions we got here, or statements. What do you think a new normal for inflation? Do you think 70s inflation through the decade? I don't even know what the 70s inflation was, but I know it was pretty tough in the 80s. I read that you stay liquid as possible to pick up deals. What do you think, Tom? Well, listen, I mean, it's kind of a contradiction, right? I mean, it is true to save some money, but once you start buying up deals, you're not so liquid anymore. But that's part of what you should consider is, like right now, that's always the scary part, right? You buy stuff, what if things go bad? Like when things are kind of looking bad. Not a lot of people have a lot of confidence in the way the country's being run right now. We got a lot of, we're buying oil elsewhere, and, instead of buying it from within our own country, keeping the money in the country, that's a concern to a lot of people, and it's a fair concern. Then we got, we're taking in millions of people over the border that are uneducated, don't have any skills particularly, don't speak the language, very tough to employ, and now feeding those people and their kids, because really it's like you got a bunch of adult children now because they can't fend for themselves. So those people are much more expensive to take care of today than they were a year ago. Inflation's at like 8.2%. So it's a very scary time. A lot of people don't even think about those sort of things. You got to think about that. We got 1 million mouths a month coming over the border that have no skills. And the other thing is property crime's gone up. I've had a bit more property crime than usual, and people go in, they steal stuff. They opportunist. I have video cameras. I'll do a video camera show someday, and I'll show you how many damn dirt bags I have in actually fairly decent areas that are come by and they're just checking doors, seeing if they can't get in a car. If there is a car, a lot of times there's no cars in the parking lot, but they're walking the building, checking to see if there's an unlocked door, if they can walk in, grab a laptop or something like that. That's what goes through their head. And so you got to be really diligent watching your building. It's a responsibility of your tenants. Nobody wants to feel like they're in an unsafe neighborhood, and all it takes is You know, one idiot coming in stealing a laptop, and then all of a sudden, you know, they feel like, oh man, we're in a very high crime area, and it's not that way. You know, I had an electrician doing some work for me at one of my industrial properties, good area, and he couldn't find his copper, he couldn't find the wire, and I go back, he said, I think somebody stole it, and I go, well, let's take a look, and I pull up on the video camera, and he'd only been there 30 minutes, came in, did something. Well, when he left, he took these spools of wire about the size of this, each one worth $400, by the way, and or maybe $200 each, and he sets them on the edge of his truck. He's got the, you know, he's got a, you know, like a toolbox truck where they flip down, and he put them on top, and he was grabbing his stuff, you know, walking in and out of the door, and sure enough, he put those on there. Like as soon as he walked in the door, some guy driving down the street goes, oh, copper, pulled in, parked, got out, grabbed him, walked in, threw him on his front seat, threw it in reverse, backed up, took off, looked very natural, very calm and cool. And then you see my guy coming out, putting some more stuff, then pretty soon going, where's my copper? And we're living in those times right now, okay? We're living in those times. And some people even go further, you know. In fact, you'll see me filming sometimes now with a camera. It's a stolen camera, right? I'm filming myself with a stolen camera. Now, but I stole it from the thief. The thief came and ripped off some stuff out of one of my parks, and the dumbass left his phone. So I blacked his phone out, you know, did a reset, and now it's serving as an extra camera for me. You know, there's no sense even going to the cops, because they're just gonna, you know, they're gonna give him the phone back, and he's gonna say, oh yeah, somebody stole it from me too. You know, so anyways, that's the world we live in, but you gotta have a backup. Hey, again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you got an interest in real estate, been doing this a very long time. You know, I do phone consultations. I have a mentorship. I've got millionaires in my mentorship. Guys that have made $1 million in a year. Guys that made a couple $1 million in just a couple of years. That's the kind of success rate that I have. I don't let just anybody in there, but if you got good common sense and you're not, you're a thinking person. You know, because a lot of people don't. You know, people rapid fire questions, too lazy to even watch a video, read a book. You know, that's not my cup of tea. I don't have the patience for it. I don't like to turn away young men. I do turn away a lot of young men, to be honest. Even though, you know, I was a young man. I started at 19 years old, a millionaire by 27, and that'd be like making $3 million now. You know, but that was, you know, like 30 years ago when I made my first million. Maybe a little less, a little more than that, 33 years ago. But it's just the best. There's not a better way to make money in real estate. And there's just nothing better than real estate. Think about it. Nobody will loan you money on anything for over 10 years other than real estate, right? Car, they know it's a depreciating asset. Cars, 5 years and less, right? Real estate, they used to do 50-year mortgages. So it is the best asset you can have, and I'm saying any real estate if you buy it right. There is no bad real estate. There's just bad deals. Don't make a bad deal. You'll make yourself rich in a pretty short time. So, you know, I've got all kinds of people from all walks of life. I've got guys that have been, you know, carpenters. You know, I've got just every kind of person you can imagine. You know, computer geeks. You know, all kinds of tech people. I got NFL players now. Got NFL players in my group, and those are the kinds of people I want to help. People that are wanting to take their money and, you know, and do the right thing with it. You know, you throw your money in some fund that's going to bring you 4%. Guess what? You're going to make 4%. You're not going to make shit. So what's Richard say? Richard Lloyd, by the way, he's got a great channel. He's a smart guy, a tech guy. He's got a lot of followers, and he probably doesn't talk politics like I do. So Richard said, "Are you going with a buy and hold strategy now, Tom?" Richard, I hold on to class B assets, class B, class A, stuff that is going to stay full. You know, I like service industry stuff, and not complete. When I say service industry, I'm not just talking about people that work for restaurants. I'm talking about, I do like restaurants and bars. I have some of that stuff. I like, but I mean, you know, hair people. You know, people that, you know, cut hair. People that do nails. People that take care of people in the neighborhood. Amazon's not going to replace those kinds of those kinds of businesses, right? Amazon's killing companies, believe me. I own, parts of other companies, and I've seen, Amazon is just relentless. They take your product, they sell it, they figure out your market share and what you got, then they get a duplicate product. They get to replace it with something, a China copycat, and then they stop buying your product and say, oh, hey, people also buy this, and then pretty soon they are buying that, and then you're stuck with all this inventory that you bought based on the good sales you're having at Amazon, and then they yank it all away and screw you, and so it's not a good thing. And I think I just read, Amazon's cloud company is now, I think it's pushing, I don't know if it's going to be worth $3 trillion at some point. They project, or it's got to be trillion users. So there can't be that much, but unless there's a lot of bots in there. But again, those are the things, like say your plan B. You got to look at your competition. What can hurt you? But Richard, back to your question. Listen, I hold high quality assets that I can keep full and keep rented. I'm going to be very comfortable through this, this coming 5 years, this recession. I've got a lot of great tenants because I'm selective, just like I'm selective about students and people I led in my class. And because I am selective, I have a high success rate. And you can't be lazy. There's temptations to be lazy, but you can't. You just can't let your guard down. You got to be diligent and watch stuff. What are you doing, Richard? What are you investing in? I know you bought something here not too long ago. Also, what was your channel again, Richard, please? I'll let the folks know. Matt Bittner wrote, was being a landlord any more difficult in the 80s compared to present day? No, not at all. I mean, when I was, my first property, I rented out to another woodworker in front of my building, Art Ralston. I'm sure he's long dead now, but and he has a funny story. I got to tell you a story about Art Ralston. I might have to tell you guys here if you want to hear it. You tell somebody if you want to hear the story about Art Ralston, I'll tell you. But maybe better for another video. But anyways, it has to do with twins. So if you bring it up to me later, I'll say it in another video, or if I remember, which I'm so busy sometimes I forget stuff. But yeah, it's no different. I mean, I wasn't as smart in the 80s as I am today, because that's 40 years ago. But it's the same concept. You want somebody in there that can survive, that can pay you, and even those guys were actually paying me out of their Social Security. They were retired. So they already knew where their money was coming from. It was kind of hobby stuff for them in the beginning. This is my first property, right? Richard Lloyd, USA. Richard Lloyd, USA. And Richard, how would you categorize your channel, by the way? I've seen him do stuff on routers and different things, tech stuff, stuff that we scratch our heads trying to figure it out. He makes it easy to figure out. But yeah, if you give me that, so check out Richard Lloyd, USA. Also, so let's get back to the owner financing. Owner financing, listen, I got my first opportunity, 19, no credit, purely because, Richard's all about do-it-yourself, mostly do-it-yourself. Hey, Michael Ferraro's in here. That's good. It's good to see you in here, Michael. Michael's a student, by the way, and it'll be interesting to see how you handle that big property when you got some partners on, Michael. That'll be interesting. I hope you have a good. I'm sure you're going to do well. But you got to figure it out for sure. Right now, the owner financing. You know what? As somebody selling, look, I've carried a bunch of notes. I've also had a lot of notes carried for me. Owner financing. For people that are going to retire. Tell you what, it's tough to retire on 1% if you're retiring on your cash. But if you can carry a note, you can live on 4%. You get 4 times as much competing with the bank rather than helping them. If you're going to give a bank your money for 1%, they're going to turn around and run it for 3 or 4 or 5% more. Then why? If you got a good asset, if the collateral's good, don't worry about it. Hey, again, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you guys have time, please comment under the video. It helps the channel. Instead of I get all these porn referrals that I have to exit out of, or I have to delete or hide. But anyways, any other questions? I have got tile guys wrapping up this morning. My tile was supposed to finish yesterday. but he had sick kids, and he had to hang out. And got plumbers coming. I've got a rock guy that got sick. He got the flu. He just needs to do a little bit. I'm making a mantle. You're gonna see this mantle I'm making. It's like a limestone sandwich, 1.25 inch gray limestone or charcoal something limestone, and then beige, and then charcoal again. I think it's gonna look pretty good. If it doesn't, I got them there. I'm already doing a lot of stone work. I said I will play with this, put it on the mantle, see what it looks like, and if it looks good, I'll keep it. If it doesn't, I'll pull it off and I'll make it out of garapa. The garapa is the wood that I'm getting that's going in the ceiling, and that's what we'll do. I'll make a garapa mantle instead. I don't know, but anyways, so that's it. Have a plan B. Think things through. You can't just plan on things going well. You can't just you gotta think about. I play devil's advocate with everybody. Like, okay, what if this happens? What if this happens? And it's not a means to dissuade somebody from doing, or dissuading myself, but I love playing it, because if somebody challenges you and they try to shoot your ideas down or tell you why it's a mistake, you're listening, and they may be totally wrong. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people have advice, don't know shit, but you listen and you think, oh, I'd handle that this way. Oh, I'd handle that this way. But if somebody really makes a good point about why you shouldn't do something, or how it's going to be a disaster, and if maybe it's not, maybe you can't overcome it, then you got to think, yeah, that would be tough, And believe me, you're going to see the banks start getting really conservative. Some of you aren't even going to have an option. The bank's going to tell you no anyways. You're not even going to have to worry about whether you want to pay the high rates or not. They're not going to give you the loan because if they see what's coming, and they do, believe me, I have banks bankers that'll share with me their internal reports and what the bank, the memos that go out to the bankers, and those guys, that's their business, is making money and minimizing risk, and so they've got a handle on that stuff big time. So anyways, any other stuff here? All right, well, hey, thanks, good to see you back in here, Richard, and Michael, good morning, and everybody have a great day. If I have time, I've been doing it from the hot tubs. I don't have any choice but to do it live right now. I don't have any time to do anything but this. Should you wait 3 months to see how the market... Listen, there's never a reason to wait. You should be watching the market like crazy and see what it does. But it doesn't stop me. I'm going into escrow on a deal here pretty quick because I feel good about it. I'll be a little cryptic at the moment, but I feel good about the purchase. I feel good about the purchase still, even with things, maybe heading down a little bit, maybe with things drying up a little bit. What's terrible is, I know a lot of people I'm in a high-tech area. You just can't believe how many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of products that aren't shipping right now, just because that product, they can't assemble it because it's missing one little capacitor. One little part, and the whole damn product. These are products that are paid for. These guys can't ship because they're missing one little piece of product. And the other thing is, guess what? A lot of these tech companies, they can't even keep people. These guys keep jumping around that are in these decent companies. They keep getting headhunted, and they jump ship. Oh, I'll jump ship here, and I'll go to work for Tesla. Oh, I'll jump ship, I'll leave Tesla to go to work for Samsung. There's... like Tesla's going to be more engineered, right? They just laid off 200 drivers, but that's not the brightest of the bunch. But I'm talking about engineers, electronic engineers, and maybe some mechanical engineers, but mostly electronic engineers, software engineers. Those guys are in high demand, and those guys are fighting over those guys. And and then, like I say, product shortages. People can't ship a product just because it's missing something. As little as a capacitor or transistor, those are the things that are holding things up. And what a shame, just what a shame. So we don't have enough smart people, we don't have enough high-tech people, we don't have enough intelligent people to fill these jobs. And then on the lower end, on the people, and I'm respectfully consider myself on the lower end too, as far as skills goes. I know how to make money with real estate. That's the other good thing for you guys who don't have any real skills. Listen, you're not going to learn this in school. You're not going to learn this in school. You're going to learn it in a book. You're going to learn it from me as in a mentorship. That doesn't require, there's no prerequisite, you know. You need to read. You need to be able to read. That's about it. And believe me, you don't even have to read that well, because I have students that you know, have made hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you know they're you know, they're not the best, you know, at punctuation. They're not the best at, and neither am I, by the way. So don't let that dissuade you. Listen, there's nothing better than this. There's nothing better than real estate. Okay, there's nothing better. Because you're equal. You're equal to the richest guy in the room, because it's all about getting the deal. You get the deal, you're going to make the money. You get the deal, that guy may end up being your partner. That get the deal, that guy may loan you the money. You get the deal, that guy may be buying it from you. There's all kinds of great stuff. Ford has huge yards full of vehicles, but waiting for chips to finish delivery. Yeah, well, they're lucky they can snap it in, you know, to the car if that's the case. But I'm talking about they can't even assemble the damn box, because there's a chip on a board. They can't even process the board, the motherboard, or whatever it's got, because you know that stuff. You know how it goes, Rich. All that stuff, how it gets put on in line assembly. You know, they got to come back and they're not going to take the box apart and put one piece back in. I mean, I'm sure they would if they had to, but it just wouldn't be a very productive way of assembling. And so they can't even begin to assemble. So you got people, you know, standing there with their thumb up their butt, waiting for something to assemble. And then the employers, you know, paying these guys to sweep the floor because they're lacking the parts, but they're going to need the labor to do the assembly when they're done. So it's you know, there's a lot of opportunities coming. You want to be, you know, you be the smartest guy in the room, you know, and get your skills. It's a great time to get skills right now. It is, you know, you don't want to be jumping in this market without some skills. So it's a good time to get your skills, because it is a little scary for people to jump in right now. It's never good to be jumping into anything when you're unskilled. But get your confidence, get your knowledge base up. You know, get your knowledge base up in the next, you know, coming months or year, whatever, and then be ready to pounce. You know, and be careful with your money. Treat your money like a tool. You know, I don't know, depending on where you're at financially, you know, you might want to, you know, it's always good to cut your overhead. But, you know, maximize your assets. You know, one of the things that I'm doing is, you know, I'm just, you know, the 165,000 square feet of rentals that I have, and you know, I have maybe 20,000 square feet of property that you know, I'm going to roll or flip. That stuff, you know, I don't need to buy anymore. I will buy more. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. But I'm going to continue to just add value to what I have. I'm going to make it super clean, super neat. You know, I've got my landscapers and the people that do the upkeep. I'm saying, hey, concentrate on keeping this thing looking sharp. You know, paint those curbs. You know, patch those cracks. You know, there's things like that you can do. You know, just keep your property looking as pristine as you can. You know, and not even all my properties are pristine, but they're starting to look pretty damn good. I actually drove by one of my properties yesterday. I'm going, wow. You know, it's same old building, same everything, but everything. The grass was really good. It was edged really nicely. You know, we painted the curbs a bright yellow, and you know, everything's looking good. I've got, you know, more security cameras up. You know, there's some wonderful products, by the way, that will dissuade thieves from stealing from you, and it's a wonderful thing. So again, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It helps the channel. And listen, you want to do a phone consultation? Go to FlipAnythingUSA.com. You know, you get nervous, you make a mistake for something that really could easily be averted. You know, there's nothing worse, nothing really that bothers me more, and this is why I'm kind of hard on Chris Crone and Grant Cardone. I don't think they're good for the investors, that people that invest with them, and I think they're terrible. But you know, nothing worse than having your seed capital tied up for the next 10 years with something that's going nowhere. You know what I mean? It's just, you might as well throw it in the fireplace. You know, you may get something, but it's not going to be enough when it does come back. You know, these guys that take a little bit of money from all these people, they're getting half the profit roughly from everybody. You know, from tens of thousands of people sometimes. You're only getting half of what you have. You should be getting all of what you have. Okay, and that's what I teach you to do: is maximize your skills, take all the profit for yourself. Anyways, have a great day, guys. We'll see you. Sure, share, subscribe. Thanks.